Hi guys, how are you doing today? Welcome back to Random Lifestyle Vlog. If you're new here, my name is Paulina and this channel is all about beauty that includes skincare, makeup and fragrances. Today we're going to be reviewing another fragrance. This is the newest flanker of La Nuit Tresor by Lancome and it's called Le Parfum. So the kind of original La Nuit Tresor perfume was released in 2015. It is said to be a flanker of a fragrance called Tresor, but to be honest, these were like so different that I don't really see the point of mentioning this kind of like older fragrance. So let's mark the start of this kind of line in 2015 when the first La Nuit Tresor fragrance was released. And this was this very fruity floral gourmand scent which was very strong and very sexy and kind of like all over the place. I get why this fragrance was a bit polarizing. Many people actually couldn't stand it, many people loved it on the other hand, so yeah, pretty polarizing I would say. When I first tried it out on a blotter, I was like, whoa, this is like too much of everything. Because there were like so many fruity notes, there was like strawberry, pear, lychee, there were some florals, there were plenty of gourmand notes like praline, but there was also like incense, patchouli, vanilla, so you know, a little bit of everything. It's like they try to put like all the sexy notes in like one pot and create a fragrance out of that. Luckily, it turned out my skin filters some of these notes and as a result, I like this fragrance. So in the following years, we had multiple flankers of this fragrance and I think in most cases, those flankers, I would describe them as a bit improved version of the original. Why do I think that? Mostly because they were focused on like several notes instead of giving you everything, and some of them were kind of like more woodsy, some of them were more floral. There was one that was built around cherry, so these flankers kind of like made more sense in my opinion, even though most of them did have quite a big chunk of this original DNA there. There were a few flankers that were like completely different from the original. The ones that come to my mind like straight away were Musk Diamant, which was like musky raspberry, and then we had Nude, which was like a creamy coconut one. These ones, they didn't really make much sense as a part of a collection to me, but I kind of liked them both in the end. So usually I was pretty happy with the La Nuit Tresor flankers up until last year when they released this Fleur de Nuit, and this one had like some coffee note. Was it cappuccino or latte? I'm not too sure, but no, this one gave me like a proper black opium vibe, which I mean there's nothing wrong with black opium, but if I want a black opium I would just get myself a black opium, not La Nuit Tresor. So I didn't love their last year's release. I was pretty disappointed with that, I have to say. When I saw they had like another flanker this year, I was initially a bit nervous. So let's have a quick look at the bottle first. So this is like a classic diamond shape bottle that's typical for La Nuit Tresor. This flanker has this kind of like a purple velvet ribbon. So, you know, a very typical La Nuit Tresor bottle, nothing really much to say about it. And now let's have a look at the notes. So there are only 4 notes listed on Fragrantica. So I think these are kind of like official notes, which I'm pretty sure this fragrance has more than just these 4 notes, but this is kind of a thing with La Nuit Tresor fragrances recently. It seems like the only notes that are listed are the ones that are the most prominent, I would say. So in this case, the top note here is going to be black currant. Then we have middle note of rose, and then base notes of cacao and patchouli. And let me tell you, all these 4 notes are actually very noticeable in this fragrance. So do I think this year's flanker is good? I actually think it's really good. I think this is a little bit more unique compared to like the original scent and like pretty much the previous flankers because it lacks this kind of typical sweetness that is associated with this fragrance. I mean, this fragrance is still described as fruity floral gourmand, and technically it would be a fruity floral gourmand. We have some like fruity notes, which would be this black currant. We have some rose, obviously, and there's this cacao, which obviously qualifies as gourmand, but we don't really have anything that makes it like super sweet. We do have this patchouli though. And as for the fruity floral part, again, that's not the first thing that comes to my mind when I smell it. I would describe this fragrance as warm, a little bit like spicy, even balsamic at certain times. There is certain almost like woodsiness to it and almost like a certain powderiness from this cacao note. So I would say this is quite a sophisticated, quite mature fragrance. Without the sweetness, it leans almost slightly masculine. Yeah, I could describe this as almost like a unisex scent. I do find black currant to be one of those kind of like fruit notes that just gives a little bit more elegance to this fragrance, and this is what we're pretty much getting. I would describe this flanker as a more mature, more sophisticated, and more elegant version of the original. We do have some of the original DNA for sure, but it's definitely unlike any other flankers that we had before. This fragrance has a pretty good projection, and it also is very good for lasting. I would definitely recommend this fragrance. I think it's stunning, but I would also recommend testing it before buying, mostly because it leans slightly more like unisex or even masculine, and I feel like not everyone would appreciate that, especially if you like the previous versions of this scent, which were definitely more on the feminine side. This one is definitely a little bit different. So to wrap this up, I love this fragrance. I think this is such a nice creation. I love the fact that it's a little bit more unique compared to the previous flankers, and I also love the kind of maturity of this scent. I mean, it's not super mature, don't get me wrong, but it's definitely more mature than the previous scents. And have you tried it already? If so, let me know what you think about this scent in the comment section down below. Thank you very much for watching. For more fragrance related content, check those videos over here. I'm going to see you very soon. Take care, bye!